There is a specific number of pops every one of your planets should be holding, not a range, not a depends on your build, a specific number. Most players miss it by a mile and they pay for it with months, sometimes years of lost growth. In the next few minutes I will show you exactly what that number is, why it works, and how to distribute your starting pops across your colonies for the maximum possible growth from day one. This is the pop growth sweet spot and almost nobody talks about it. Quick report from High Command before we dive deeper. Most of you watching aren't officially enlisted yet. If this run gives you ideas for your own games, subscribe and join our navy. Now why this matters? Pop growth feeds everything in your empire: naval capacity, research, alloy production. Every strategic asset you care about traces back to how fast your population grows. And right now, with the current economy, baseline pop output matters more than it has in a long time, because stacking modifiers doesn't carry you the way it used to. The empire that grows more pops faster wins. So the question becomes, what's the optimal pop count per planet? And once you know it, how should you spread your starting population to get there? Both questions have exact mathematical answers, so let's get them. Stellaris pop growth follows a logistic curve. The formula looks very intimidating, but the behavior is very simple. Two things drive your growth rate: how many pops the planet has and the planet's capacity. Capacity goes up with housing, districts, blockers cleared, orbital rings, traditions like expansion, so the bigger and better built your planet is, the higher its capacity ceiling. Here's what the formula looks like as a chart. Pops going to the horizontal line, planet capacity going to the vertical line. Each cell shows you monthly growth rate. Red is low growth, yellow is decent, and these blue cells, that's the maximum, 5.0 growth per month, the cap. Your goal is to land in the blue zone on as many planets as possible. That's the sweet spot. Now here's what nobody tells you. You don't need a massive planet to hit max growth, you don't need 8,000 pops, you don't need 5,000 pops. Look at the lower edge of the blue zone. The minimum pops needed to hit max growth converges to about 2,000 as capacity grows. With 50,000 capacity, the absolute hard cap, you only need 2.1 thousand pops to lock in 5.0 growth. But your planets won't have 50k capacity. Realistically, the average planet you work with sits around 9,000, and on a 9k capacity planet, you will hit max growth at 2.9 thousand pops. So that's the number, 2.9 thousand. That's where every one of your established planets should be parked. Not 5k, not 8k, but 2.9k. That is considering growth only, of course. Past that point, your growth starts dropping again. The curve is symmetric. Too few pops, low growth. Too many pops, also low growth. The sweet spot is in the middle. For a 9,000 capacity planet, that middle is in the 2.9 to 5.9 thousand pops range. Now here's a trap most players fall into. You start a game with around 5,000 pops sitting on your capital. Your first instinct is to keep them there, because the capital has the highest capacity, the best buildings, a lot of good modifiers, so it feels right to grow it up. But if you sit on your capital alone with 5,000 pops, you're getting 5 growth per month. Capped max out, that seems perfect, right? No, wrong. Catastrophically wrong. Because the moment you colonize a second planet and split those pops, your total empire growth explodes. I ran the math for the exact starting condition most of you are in. 5,000 pops total, capital with 11,000 capacity, each new colony at 9,000 capacity. Here's what the optimal distribution looks like as you settle more planets. Look at what happens with just the first colony. Your total empire growth jumps from 5.0 to 9.36, almost double, so only one colonization and almost twice the pop growth. Each additional colony after that adds less. 2 colonies 10.34, 3 10.85, 4 11.16. Diminishing returns kick in fast because we do have a lot more pops than our logistic growth does in our capital. But here's a strategic point. The first colony nearly doubles your growth, and you get it for the price of only one colony ship. You're sitting on your capital because it has the highest capacity. You are literally throwing away half of your potential growth every single month. The lesson is brutal and simple. Colonize fast, spread those pops, don't hoard all of them on the capital. Now the math changes once your empire grows. With 5,000 pops, no planet saturates. You're spread to maximize. But once you have enough pops to put 2,900 on every developed planet, the strategy changes. Now your goal is the opposite. Get as many planets as possible into the blue zone. So each saturated planet gives you 5.0 growth, and they stack across your empire. 5 saturated planets is 25 growth per month. 10 it is 50. So the strategy has 2 phases. Early game, you colonize aggressively. You spread your pops thin, take the doubling growth that comes from every new world basically. Mid to late game, you push every developed planet to that 2.9k sweet spot. Keep them growing until they reach 5,900 pops. By that point, they start to have diminishing growth if you don't add more planet capacity. Then you resettle the excess pops to new colonies or just increase the planet capacity so they can maintain the perfect growth. The empires that win are the ones that recognizes when the game shifts. So how do you apply this in your own run? First, from day 1, build your colony ships. Don't wait at all. The growth gain from your first colony is worth more than almost anything you can do in that window. Second, don't migrate pops from new colonies back to the capital. Let them grow where they are. You are spreading the load on purpose. Third, as your planet approaches the 2,900 mark, start increasing their capacity. Build city districts, luxury residences, clear blockers. The 2,900 sweet spot only locks in if your capacity is high enough, minimum around 9k capacity for that pop amount to hit the actual cap. Fourth, and this is a big one, once a planet hits the sweet spot, stop pushing pops into it. Migration mechanics will try to send pops to your most developed worlds with free jobs, so you override that. Direct the migration towards your new colony, the ones still climbing the curve. That's how you compound the growth advantage across your entire empire instead of letting it stagnate on one fat capital. So yeah, pop growth in Stellaris isn't a passive mechanic, it's a sweet spot problem. The empires that hit 2,900 pops on their developed planet, that colonize aggressively in the early game, and that recognize when to flip from spreading to saturating, those are the empires that outgrow the galaxy. Now theory is one thing, watching it played out at the strategic level is a completely different thing. So let me show you exactly how this works in practice. We are going to take a fresh empire from day 1, applying everything we covered, the pop spread, the push towards the sweet spot, and you'll see the growth advantage compound. Now let's get into it. Here on the world of Atari, since it is a size 21 planet, we already have a massive planet capacity of 8,100. Very good. We just don't have the population right now, but we're gonna build a medical center to improve our monthly pop growth, give us some amenities, and we'll also build a city district to give us a little bit of housing. Okay, now that we build an empty city district with no zones, our planet capacity skyrocketed to 8,700, which means that following our logistic growth curve, we need about 2.5 and 2,900 pops to get the maximum value out of this. Of course, you do not have 2,900 pops to resettle to this world, so you're gonna resettle a little bit less. We are just gonna resettle enough so that they can have jobs, and we are gonna resettle just these 860 civilians, because although we are prioritizing the pop growth, we do not want to jeopardize our economy in the early game. So here on Atari, it has a good amount of mining districts, so we can start by building just some mining districts, yeah, and we will resettle all the pops here to just produce minerals. On Caldres, since it is a very small planet, but it does have a lot of agricultural districts, we can make this planet pretty much just an agricultural one. This one does have a very bad planet size and planet capacity as a consequence of that, 5,300, but we can improve that by removing the quicksand basin. This will give us one more district and improve our planet capacity slightly. In our capital, as you can see, we have a pretty good logistic pop growth of plus 3.81. It is not perfect, which would be 5, so we can improve our planet capacity by building up some more city districts. This will give us more available housing, since it gets plus 600 housing for everyone that we build. On the Caeldris colony, since we have a very low amount of population, oh boy, yeah, we're gonna invest this. Not wanna have 2 blockers reducing our pop growth, since we have the planetscapers. Now, if you look at this, we are losing 0.4 logistic growth just because of low population. This is terrible, commanders. Therefore, we need to resettle a couple of fellas from our main planet in order to negate that effect. Unfortunately, we did spend a lot of our energy in the previous event, so we do not have enough to resettle everyone that we want. But within time, we're gonna do that. As you can see, just by resettling around 150 pops, we already reduced it from minus 0.4 pretty much minus 0. Yeah, and the more we resettle here, the better it gets. Now we have pretty much perfect growth on our capital of 1 plus 4 from pops, which is the maximum of 5 that we can get. On the Atari colony, we are already getting plus 1.3 from pops, and we only have 1000. The more we resettle here, the better it is. And since on our capital we are capped out at the maximum of 5, every pop that we resettle here, we won't be reducing our overall pop growth in any shape or form. Now, looking at our logistic pop growth curve, the bare minimum amount of pops that we need in order to achieve the perfect 5 logistic growth is around 2.6 thousand. That is accounting for a planet capacity of around 9,000. Here on our capital, we just have that amount of planet capacity, so we can reduce this 4.4 thousand number up until 2.6, 2.7k. The rest of them can be resettled to our colonies. However, in order to maintain our economy, we will only resettle the pops there once we have the available jobs. Here on our colony of Caeldris, only with 1.6 thousand pops, we already have a logistic growth of plus 2. Very good. On the Atari, 1.3 thousand pops, we have a logistic growth of pretty much plus 2 as well, 1.9. If you could get 1000 more pops in each of these planets, that would be huge. Unfortunately, we do not have the jobs right now, but we are acquiring the minerals to build the psionic corps across all of our planets. That will give us 200 telepath jobs that will not only protect our own civilization from the crimes, but it will also give us the jobs to resettle the population from Kalsoth. But in the meantime, looking at our colonies, we have maximized the logistic pop growth basically of the Atari planet with another 3.92 and with only 2.6 thousand pops. On the Caeldris, we also have 2.6 thousand pops, and the growth here, however, is at 3.38. That is because of the planet capacity. Here is only at 8,000, whereas in the Atari it is at 10,000. So that's the difference here. Unfortunately, this is a size 12 planet, that's why the planet capacity is that low, but we can improve that by just constructing more luxury residences. So let's just build another one of these, and once we unlock the food processing, we can have more jobs here. We can have the urban expansion zones to have more luxury residences and have the perfect growth. Now, since all of our planets are pretty much at the maximum logistic growth curve, we can set foot on even other planets to maximize their output on the other hand. So we have 2 other colonies that we can immediately set foot, and a third one with 65% habitability that we will colonize once we finish these other 2 colonies. The Venatorian Empire has begun. Every Saturday a new episode is released and channel members have exclusive powers. If you are a Grand Admiral and above, you can command your own fleets and order them across our roleplay. Warlords can also submit their own saves and I'll review and improve them, whatever save you want. So if you have been watching this channel and want to be a greater part of what we are building, join the High Command. Now that's gonna be it for today's video, everyone. I hope that this made you understand how the logistic pop growth works in Stellaris 4.3. If this video helped you out, don't forget to leave a like because it also helps me out a lot. And as always, commanders, I'll see you guys next time.